Welcome to another 284 Media Special Report. I am Jacko Wooding, and today I am joined by Education Officer for TVET, Mrs. Karima Wilson Solomon, and two students of the Elmore Stoutt High School who are preparing to make a trip to Texas, USA for the National Art Education Association's annual art convention. We delve straight into discussions after this quick commercial break.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Burrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites. It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Of course, we have a full table today, so thank you all for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, let's start off with Mrs. Wilson Solomon. Just tell us a bit about you and what you're doing here today.
Hi, Jack, and thanks for having us. So I am the education officer for the technical vocational education and training at the Ministry of Education. Previously, I taught at the Elmore Stoutt High School, and these are two of my students. And so we're excited to be here today to talk a little bit about all our upcoming plans for the National Art Education field trip that we're about to take in a couple of days.
All right, and students, how about you introduce yourselves as well?
Hi, I'm Deshaun Levy. I'm a current 12th grade student at the Elmore Stoutt High School who will also be attending this trip to San Antonio, Texas.
My name is Kimia Chung, and I'm an 11th grade student of the Elmore Stoutt High School, and I will also be attending this trip to San Antonio, Texas.
All right, now I'd imagine that ahead of such a big trip, there'd be a lot of planning going on. So just take us through the timeline of what led you to this point where you are right now.
So that's such an interesting question, because I first attended the convention in 2017 with two students of mine at the time, and I brought the idea after COVID and the hurricanes to my students in October of 2022. And so they were excited. The group started off at about 30 persons, and a few have fell along the wayside, but we are here. So the initial conversation started in October last year, and it continued with a lot of planning, a lot of different ideas for fundraising. And our highlight, one of the reasons we're here today, is to promote our art show that we're having next Wednesday at the Elmore Stoutt High School.
All right, now I've seen recently with the Ministry of Education's push for STEAM-based learning, of course, there's been a lot more focus on arts in education. Is that one of the factors behind why you think this venture is important for students of the Elmore Stoutt High School?
Yes, it is definitely important, especially now more than ever. We have a lot of our young people that are interested in various forms of art, whether it's drawing, painting, and mixed media, graphic design. And so now the students are showing a lot more interest, ready to integrate art into STEAM and learn different ways, different techniques of doing art. And so hopefully by this trip, as our students get ready to experience different museums and galleries, they'll also be able to see different types of artwork that are out there in the world.
All right, now let's turn our attention to Mr. Levy and Ms. Chung for a quick second. Of course, you're the students. This is about you. So I want each of you to just tell us about your interest in the arts. Of course, ladies first.
I first started out being interested in more of drawing because it's kind of in my family. So I actually gradually went into painting because I like the way of blending and adding like mixed media to paintings to kind of bring them to life. So I would like to go on this trip. I would like to get some experience because I usually do more like childlike kind of paintings. So I want to get into more realistic type of painting. Yeah.
Okay, and what about you, Mr. Levy?
So actually, at first I didn't like art, but over time, I began to love it. So going on this trip, it will enhance my drawing skills and my ability to be creative. But other than art, I'm also in another art subject, which is theater art. So I'm practically an art student all the way. But drawing, I would say, is one of my most subjects that I would love to improve on.
All right, and you did say you weren't necessarily too interested in art initially, but I'm sure some influential teachers would have been part of the journey to encouraging you to,
yes,
expand your horizons
yes,
in that regard, of course. And what kind of activities can we expect the students to be engaged in? I know you mentioned visiting museums, and they mentioned being able to hone their craft a bit more. So take us a bit through that program.
So when we go on the trip to the art convention, it's going to be 3 full days of workshops, different sessions, general sessions, lectures. And so each student is tasked with selecting and creating their own schedule for the trip. And so our days can start about 8 a.m. and end about 7 p.m. So it's really packed and intense, but I know it's meaningful. One of the highlights as well is they'll be able to have the opportunity to network with various universities and art institutes and be able to ask questions about admission processes, about completing their art portfolios, and what do they need moving forward as emerging artists.
All right. Now, one of the things I feel like the BVI is very big on is supporting things as a community. You hear the word community in all aspects of things in the territory. And of course, the community can come together to support this initiative by supporting your fundraising activities.
Yes.
So you said the first one is coming up this Wednesday.
Yes, it's actually our final one. It's the grand finale. Yes, before we leave for the convention. So on Wednesday, April 5th at 5 p.m. at the Elmore Stoutt High School, we are having our art show, and it will be the students primarily that are going on the trip. Their artwork will be on display. So we have a range of paintings, drawings, and sculptures. And we're inviting the general public to come out. It's a small entrance fee for $10. Tickets are available from any member of the field trip, or you can pay at the door. And so we're inviting everyone to come out, especially persons that love art. You love to be with the creatives in our community. And we just are looking forward to a wonderful time for our opening ceremony. Everyone is excited and elated. And the show will also run on Thursday, April 6th for the entire day. We're gonna give persons a chance to come in after work, and then we're gonna close at 6 p.m. on Thursday.
All right. Now, in your view as an educator, as a member of the Ministry of Education, of course, and you're the education officer for TVET, so you fully understand that as a society, the BVI needs to kind of break away from the core studies. Not everybody is going to excel in mathematics. Not everybody is going to excel in sciences. What kind of response or growth have you been able to see in your students in regards to them getting more involved in the arts?
I feel it has been a gradual process, but I think what helps as well is exposing our students to not just art in the BVI, but art worldwide, letting them know that there are other students that are also doing art like themselves, letting them become aware of artists that are local, regional, and international, as well as some of the world-renowned artists like Michelangelo, Picasso, Degas, and the list can go on and on. So it's important that we expose our students to the broader area of art, and as well as educating them about our culture here in the Virgin Islands and what keeps our community of creatives really excited and motivated to do what they do.
Right. Actually, recently we would have interviewed Miss Tia Letsam, who is an artist from the BVI. She held her first solo art exhibition at the Pier Park. So, she was really stepping out, breaking out of her comfort zone of just presenting her stuff with other artists and, really getting out there. So I'm wondering, you as students, what's your journey been like sharing your art with other people? From figuring out, oh, I know how to draw, or I know how to paint, and then deciding, okay, I want to share this with my peers.
At first, it was kind of hard to kind of open up my art to people, because usually when you do art, you kind of compare yourself to other people that are better at doing it than you. So I learned to just love my own art, and going through having classes with other people, And they usually say, well, your art is your art and my art is mine. And other people will find it beautiful just like you would, so yeah.
All right.
This is actually my first time opening up my art to a general public, but other than that, opening up my art to friends and family, they would always help me improve on my art, correct me on mistakes I've made, but they loved it.
All right. Now, I know Elmore Stoutt High School is very big on giving their children as many opportunities as possible. I mean, there's the band, there's the music program, of course the arts are going on as well. What other areas do you as an educator believe that the high school should probably look into, or the Ministry of Education should look into having the territory branch out to offer more opportunities for artists?
I think that's such a good question, because as my role as the education officer for TVET, it's always a desire to make sure that our students are well-rounded. And so even without pinpointing one specific area, you know, there's animation, there's robotics, and all these different cool designs that are out there, you know, artificial intelligence. And so a lot of that, the foundation comes from art in understanding how to design and how to draw. And so I definitely would love to see our schools heading in that direction, a more sustainable future where we're exposed to things that can lead us into the next century and allow our students also to be excited about learning and using the technology that is available to them.
All right, and as part of the National Science Fair this year, we would have seen that there was an entire category dedicated to students who wanted to portray their art. And of course, these students would have been fully a part of the fair. There were prizes given out, and you know, they walked away from the science fair knowing that their journey is valued too, is valid in their education. Now, do you believe that possibly there's a need for more continuous exposure for young artists in the territory?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I feel that just like Kimia and Deshawn said, at first you're always nervous, and for some of the students this is their first art show coming up on Wednesday, so they're a little timid. But it's necessary for art students, or just artists on a whole, to display their work so that they can gain that necessary feedback, that constructive criticism, and it would allow them to understand, you know, what next step to take and how to improve, and also to allow them to know, okay, you're going in the right path and your work is beautiful, and to continue doing what you're doing. And one of the things that I always encourage my students is, as you create your artwork, you want it to be a conversation piece. You want persons and your audience to enjoy it, to interact with it. It might not always be a positive feedback, but some feedback is better than no feedback. So I definitely would encourage any artist that's listening, young students that are doing art and you want to display your work, go ahead. Go ahead and display your work and get it out there, and to continue doing what you do.
Right. Now, I really do enjoy the fact that you took the time to encourage young artists out there to show their work. And I was actually about to turn to the students to ask them to do so as well, because a lot of the time we don't consider how much our peers are looking at us. There could be somebody in your own class, in your same grade level, who's looking at you, getting ready to put out your work at this art show, and they're just fully inspired by it. So how would you encourage members of your community, your own peers, or persons even younger than you looking up, to take that step and follow their dreams to have their art show?
I feel like if you believe in yourself, you can really make it happen. And also, if you really have potential, you can make a great living out of it. Like, people usually have customizing shops, like t-shirt printing and stuff, and you can really sell your art pieces. Could even, like, can be international. You can have it in museums in the States, you have it in Europe, Russia, China, everywhere.
I would tell them, if they really want to be an artist, I'll tell them chase your dreams. Go be an artist, go be the best you can be, because art really helps you in a lot of aspects in life. It can help you create good changes to society, can make beautiful things happen, can, basically, I would say, it could change the world. Because arts, well, it's basically everything we do. Everything we look at, everything we talk about it every day. It's art all around us.
All right, and Mrs. Wilson Solomon, I just want to hear from you in regards to encouraging parents and guardians to allow young people to explore the arts. I mean, the Caribbean is way too common of a story that, okay, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer, you need to be a teacher. Those are the only jobs available to you. How would you encourage adults to let the young people in their lives explore their horizons?
Okay, well, for parents and guardians, let your children be creative. If we pay attention to what's happening in the world, the arts and STEAM is what's moving our economy forward. And so I would say encourage your children, buy their crayons, their Play-Doh, let them be hands-on, let them create in their own way. There's no right or wrong art, there's no perfect art. And so it's all about beginning stages and then moving into, perfection or whatever their level of excellence is. And so really encourage them. I know it's difficult at times for parents to understand the level of expression that sometimes children can do in their artwork, even with finger painting and using sponges and fruits to make impressions with their paint, it can be a combination of anything. And simple art starts from drawing your family, drawing a butterfly, drawing your friends, animals, you have your little dogs and cats and stuff. So parents encourage them, get them a pen, a pencil, paper, crayon, keep it simple, and just let them explore and express themselves. And it's a great way also, as Deshawn was saying, art is all around us. It's a good way to relieve some stress. It's therapeutic. And even for adults, I encourage adults a lot to get coloring books and just take some of that stress off and relax and release and rejuvenate. So art is for everyone, I believe. And we're all at different levels, all creativity levels. And so as parents and guardians, definitely encourage your children to be creative and to express themselves in that way.
All right, thank you so much. Of course, we are definitely looking forward to the art exhibition, and we're looking forward to seeing you all go to Texas and have a good time and bring back everything you learned to share with your peers. You did say that attending the exhibition on Wednesday is one way to support. But if any member of the community would like to offer additional support to the group of students that's traveling, how could they do so?
Well, if any one person or businesses would like to contribute to our trip, then you can contact myself or any of the students that are traveling on the trip. It's actually 7 students ranging from 11th to 12th grade. They are all current art students at Elmore Stoutt High School. And so any donation is welcome as we get ready to embark on this journey. I think it's a first for all of them to go to museums and galleries and just to experience a convention totally geared towards art and the creatives at this magnitude. And so we're just excited, and we welcome any donations or sponsors that persons would like to donate.
All right, well, thank you so much, all of you, for coming to the studio today and sharing this with us. We're looking forward to covering the exhibition on Wednesday, and of course, we will be bringing all of that to you, our viewers, at 284 Media. This brings us to the end of our interview. Stay tuned because there's a lot more great content coming up on 284 Media.